my opinion, this ending completely ruins Ohma Tokita, who is already not a good character. Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all well. I'm the Monio, the interdimensional demon who talks about Kengan Ashura the most on YouTube, and you're on my channel. Let's get straight to the point. This isn't going to be one of those videos where people say something was bad and then I come to explain that in fact people didn't understand enough and that they should understand other points of view. No. I really didn't like this ending, and I think it doesn't add anything, and it even makes the whole series considerably worse, besides ruining Ohma Tokita even more, who was already a weak protagonist in my opinion. But let's take it one step at a time, before people come and say that his death made sense within the story, because his health was already very weak and the doctor said that if he fought, he would probably die, but that's not my point. For me, the issue is that from the point of view of the narrative's conclusion, it didn't make sense for this character to die. Think about it, what was Ohma's goal? He never had a clear, specific goal, like Baki, who wanted to defeat his father, and he also never had a long-term goal like Goku, who wanted to become stronger to face even stronger enemies. It's even funny to stop and think about Ohma's goal when entering the tournament. He had no intention of avenging his master's death, nor of fighting anyone specific. It wasn't a question of becoming the strongest fighter or perfecting his skills. Some say that Ohma's goal was to die fighting, but this was never expressed at any point. The truth is that at the beginning of the series, there was an air of mystery regarding the fact that Ohma wanted to fight so much in this tournament, and everything indicated that it had to do with the death of his master and other characters who had direct relations with these events, and that this would complete Ohma's character arc. But as the story progresses, we realize that he wasn't very interested in any of this, and what seemed to be a mystery simply didn't have a clear explanation. The strangest thing is that Ohma was aware that he would probably die in the last fight, but the victory or defeat of this fight would not have any real impact on the story, it would not impact the fate of any important character, and it would not complete Ohma's character arc, because nothing was at stake there. Whether Ohma won or lost the fight, it would have no impact on that world, since the fight that had that impact was the previous one, between Kuroki and Fawn, which caused Katahara Matsudo to lose control of the presidency of the Kengan Association, changing the entire control of the Japanese economy. About the fight itself, in terms of visuals and choreography, it was very good, full of impacts and twists, very much in the style of the Kengan Ashura fights, and I also like the fact that Ohma lost. This creates a break in expectations that if it were better work done could be very interesting. Another thing that I find very strange is the lack of a character arc for Ohma, which is not present throughout the story and is not concluded in the final fight. When I was watching the episodes, I believed that Ohma's arc would be him stopping using his advanced form. The anime makes it clear that this power is harmful to his heart and that it reduces his life expectancy. Furthermore, his master forbids him from using this technique, assuming that it is a bad technique and that it makes him lose control in exchange for power, in addition to all the other side effects. Ohma's character arc, in my opinion, should be him realizing that he doesn't need this power if he trusts in the Nico style, the style that his master taught him, but that's not what happens, because all this possible development is thrown away when Ohma himself says that he will continue using this technique, which takes him back to square one of character development, since he continued using the technique doing what the guy who killed his master wanted him to do, and ignored all the lessons he learned during the anime, especially in the fight against Rain, which is when he realizes that he has become dependent on that power, and wins the fight using the Nico-style techniques. So we can say that the character, in addition to not evolving, has regressed. The Ohma who fights in the final battle is very similar to the Ohma who started the tournament, and this final fight should be the moment when he is tempted to use the power forbidden by his master and in the end resists and uses only the Nico style. It would be an arc similar to Ryu's story from Street Fighter, who avoids using the Satsui no Hado, even if it means becoming less powerful than he could be. So I really don't understand what the author's idea was, by making such an empty final fight, and an unnecessary and meaningless death of the protagonist, and this still leads us to another problem, which is the Netflix crossover. Yes, we had a Kengan Ashura and Baki crossover made by Netflix. If you don't know anything about this crossover, I'll leave a video in the pinned comment, but basically it's a crossover that takes place after Baki's father vs. son saga, and also after the Kengan tournament, and I ask you, how is Ohma alive? But the Monio, maybe the crossover takes place before the Kengan tournament, and that's why he's still alive. And I tell you no, because most of the characters from Kengan Ashura who were present met at the tournament, so it doesn't make much sense. If at least the fights took place in the Kengan tournament arena, you could argue that they paused the tournament at some point or did these unofficial fights during the night. But since it takes place in the Baki tournament arena, it's impossible for the participants and even the narrator to have left the island where the Kengan tournament takes place and gone to that other arena where Baki fights. But the Monio, aren't you being too picky? This crossover probably isn't canon. Well, probably not, but that's not what Netflix announced, and besides, the Baki characters exist in the Kengan Ashura universe, because there is an official manga in which Doppo Orochi participates in the fights in the Kengan arena, so this crossover is in a way a spiritual continuation of that manga, which makes me even sadder, because the ending of Kengan Ashura even managed to make this crossover worse. And those who watched my video know that I didn't like some things about this movie, especially the short length, but for me it's quite special, because I was a big fan of Baki, but I didn't know Kengan Ashura, and I decided to watch the anime because of the crossover, and even though the crossover has its problems, they are two franchises that I love, they are characters that I followed, and knowing that this was just filler, knowing that it could be something canon, really makes me sad. But the Monio, I saw a lot of people saying that there are sequels to Kengan Ashura, and that Ohma Tokita will return, that it wasn't clear if he died or not. Well, I don't know if he will return, I only watched the anime, and there's no guarantee that these other sagas will be adapted, but even if they are, it makes the ending even worse, because why kill the guy if he was going to return? And no, the fact that he died wasn't left open, the narrator says that he died. The other fighters go visit his tombstone, so yes, he died. This was probably intended to be the end of the series, but for some reason someone decided to continue. And guys, don't get me wrong, I really like Kengan Ashura, I really think it's very good. The whole plot involving companies and the control of Japan's economy is very interesting, the characters are charismatic and the fights are good, and Ohma had a lot of potential to be a well-developed protagonist with an interesting story shrouded in mystery, but I really didn't understand the meaning of this character's journey. I even saw some people saying that those who didn't like it are because they didn't understand the meaning of this ending. Well then, I'm definitely among those people who didn't understand, and if you who are watching this video have a different opinion and think that the ending makes sense for Ohma's character arc, I would really like to hear your comments to try to understand other points of view. Or do you agree with the things I said in this video? Leave it in the comments, and if you liked the video, subscribe to follow the next content. Until next time my people, demonic hugs.